Hey Arya, good evening. Okay, so basically in the last class we were discussing about implementation of a logistic. We took in hard data and we have to build a model in order to predict which customer has or like which patient has a high chance of getting heart attack or not, right? So, so please open a notebook and also upload a data. We'll continue further today. Yeah. Done loading. So basically, we started this project with the project title Heart Attack Risk Classification. It's a classification problem and uploaded data. So whenever you start any machine learning project, always start with the problem statement so that you know whenever you want to explain project in an interview, it becomes easy for you. And then objective, defining like what are you trying to achieve throughout this project, and then importing all the basic libraries, and we just loaded data. So we had different columns related to heart disease. Since it's a medical data, domain might be new for you, so it's always good to do the research and do some analysis related to the domain so that you can understand each variable. So we understood different columns, different categories available in that, and also what is the meaning of it, right? And then we performed the basic checks like checking number of rows and columns, and then printing first five rows, last five rows, checking info, how much memory it's using, checking data type of each column, printing all the columns, printing all numerical columns, categorical columns, and then we performed a statistical report within describe. So as I discussed, so when it comes to a statistical report, we basically look for two things, right? One is looking for constant columns. Is there any column which has a value zero, that is a standard deviation zero? No such constant columns. And also we look for minimum value. So clearly, age cannot be zero, resting BP cannot be zero, cholesterol cannot be zero. Fasting blood sugar, it has a values like 1, 0, like S or no, whether a person has a sugar or not. So that's the reason I'm not considering that. And heart disease, anyhow, it's a zero. It's a category, I mean, like discrete thing. So values cannot be zero for resting BP and a cholesterol columns. So we have to correct those zeros. So we checked, we got to know the count of zeros in these two columns, and then statistical report for categorical columns. And then we printed all unique values to understand what categories we have in each column. And also, we just found the count of each value. I mean, count of each category. And then we started with data pre-processing. So clearly no duplicates and no missing values, right? Yeah. And then, so according to our data, we have noticed that resting BP and cholesterol had some zeros. So first I'm checking the distribution because those zeros has to be replaced. So for that you have to decide what kind of distribution is it. Is it normal or is it skewed? So clearly it shows us skewness. You can see we found a skewness, and according to that resting BP zero point 0.1, it's a normal because it's within minus zero point 0.5 to plus zero point 0.5, and cholesterol is left skewed because it is less than your minus zero point 0.5. Okay, and then we just replaced resting BP with a mean because the distribution is normal, and for cholesterol we replaced it with a median. Finally we checked, it was showing a 0. And then I asked you to do the exploratory data analysis. So make sure you finish and you can share your collab with me. So I'll check and I'll tell whether it's correct or not, and then I'll fill this. Okay. And then we started with feature engineering, in which we started handling outliers for all the numerical columns. We selected columns which has a continuous values, and we are skipping all the discrete ones, right? So clearly, resting BP, cholesterol, max HR, and old peak as a outliers. So we checked the distribution, we found the skewness, and then decided for which column, which method. If it's a skewed distribution, we have to go with an IQ, and if it's a normal distribution, we have to go with a 3 sigma rule, right? We did all those replacements and all. If it's less than 5%, we have to replace. If it's more than 5%, we are not supposed to touch. Okay. So till here we did. Yeah. So today we'll do rest of the things like encoding, scaling, selecting features, splitting data for training testing, how to check whether data is balanced or not. Okay. So we'll go for encoding first. So when I say encoding, basically we look for a column which has a categories. So this is the column which has got the categories. I have taught you different methods. Now you have to decide for which column, which method has to be used. Okay, so deciding plays a very important role. First, let's go with the label encoder. So you know what is label encoder? Basically assigns values according to alphabetical order. It should be used when there is no priority issue or when no equal importance should be given. So for which column I can apply this label encoder?
Ha- Heart disease.
No, hard disk is already at 0, 1 now.
Six.
Yes. No,
Exercise
no,
engine,
yes, yes.
it has values like S, no. So let's use this. Label encoder for exercise angina because it has a values like S and no. Anyhow, Y will take a 1, no will take a 0. It's valid. Coming to one hot. For which one I have to use a one hot encoder? Equal importance should be given. Male and female. Okay. And then. And for remaining these three, okay, chest pain type, resting ECG, ST flow. For all this, we'll see its importance within heart disease. Okay, we'll compare it with the target and then we'll decide manual encoding based on importance. So whichever has high risk of heart attack, for that let's give a higher chance of number, like higher number. Okay, so we'll be doing a manual encoding for these three columns. Okay, because so many categories are there is no point in giving equal importance as well. Okay, resting ECG, normal means it's a normal, no heart attack risk. So I can give less importance to that, right? Because here we are focusing more on what is the chance that somebody would get an heart attack, right? So we have to focus more on a factor that would really affect heart disease. Okay, so for label encoder, so we'll use sklearn. So from sklearn dot pre-processing, let's import label encoder. Okay. So for which column exercise angina, let's call. You can use data.log or else you can use directly data of your wish. Okay. So what is equal to? First we have to define the label encoder, right? LE equals. I'll just initialize it. Okay. Then I'll call LE dot fit underscore transform. You have to pass your column. So basically, we have to create a new column. So I'm just changing the spelling. Instead of capital, I'm making it small. Or else what you can do, you can take the same thing, you can just use the underscore just to separate it. Okay, done. That's it. Let me put in data and let me show for you. See, a new column got created for exercise and training. You have to change the column name because if you are doing changes in a same column, usually the data type remains still the object itself. Okay, to overcome that, usually we create a new column. Hope it's done. Now we'll apply a one hot encoder. So basically, one hot encoder, like what it will do. So it creates a new data frame, pd dot get image. You have to pass your data and also you should pass your column name. And I'll say data type is integer. Yeah. Say it creates our two columns, one for female, one for male. Okay. So let me assign this code to our data variable. This is how you perform a one hot encoder. So finish these two. Understanding now S no, so label encoder, positive, negative, S no. In such case, go with label encoder. Male, female, equal importance should be given, so I'm just going with one hot encoder. And chain chest painted type, resting ECG and ST slope. Let's give importance according to the severity. Okay. Yeah. Done till here. Now let's try to plot a graph, okay? So let's use a count plot. I'll just use a subplot. A figure comma axis equals plt dot subplots with size equals 5 comma 4. Okay. Or you can use 6 comma 3. Yeah. So I'll be plotting a count plot for each of them and we'll see its relationship within hard disks. Okay. SNS dot count plot data comma x equals HS paint type comma axis is equal to axis of 0. So it's one, this is okay, and this is resting ECG. And then we'll use a ST string. Okay. Alright. So it's just giving you like count of people with different types of chest pain type, number of people with normal ST and LVH. Now let's see the importance, like what is the chance of, or like which category has a high chance of a heart attack risk. Okay, for that I'll be adding a hue equals. So let's use heart disease. Okay. Let me increase the size. Okay. So orange color represents high risk of heart attack, blue color represents a low risk of heart attack. Okay. First one, let's go with a chest pain type. So what do you see for which pain type the chance of heart attack is very high? So look into the orange bar. How can I encode? So from our understanding, we have got to know that ATA in the sense it's an atypical angina. That's a patient without heart disease. So usually asymptomatic is like has a very strong risk of heart attack whenever they get a ASY pain. Okay, so how do we encode it? If you want to treat all pain as same, you can go with one hot encoding, one way. Okay, if you can understand the domain, then you can go with a manual encoding.
And then one hot encoder will be a safe option, right?
But yeah, one hot is the safer because order doesn't matter, right? Giving equal importance.
Because as per this now, ma'am, ASY is having means chances of getting heart disease is more. But second option, second priority should be TA, ma'am. But as per this, it is showing NAP.
Because the number of patients we have with the TA is very less, no?
But then based on this, we cannot judge, no, then.
Yeah, that's where it fails.
Yes.
So it's better to go with a one hot encoding, even though the number of columns gets increased. Anyhow, four or three just we have, right? So you can just go with a one hot encoder instead of going with a manual encoder here. Usually, you can go with a manual. Order doesn't count when it comes to a decision tree based algorithm. But in this case, for basic algorithms like logistic, linear, and all, it's good to go with a one hot. Okay.
Ma'am, if we go with this order wise, then what? There any difference in R2 square or it will be same only?
It can vary. See, now what will happen? Now, if you give ASY a higher importance, it will treat that ASY is more important compared to rest of the pain types.
Okay.
Okay, if you use a one hot, it treats everything in a same manner. So we'll go with one hot itself. Okay, yeah. So we'll use PD dot get amines itself. Let me hide this. Yeah. So I'll call data equals PD dot get amines, and you'll be passing your data, comma, column sequence. You can use such as paint type, comma, data equals integer. Okay, same goes with the next one as well, which is the next one.
But for this only we have done domain analysis. No, then we should go with ordinal only then.
See, like it depends on number of columns as well, number of rows that we have. Even though we have done a domain analysis, still for these basic algorithms, it's good to go with a one hot.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So even for resting ECG, see, usually, which is more dangerous in this case, ST and LVH, right? But it shows even for normal, the chance of heart attack is high.
Yes. Based on this, we cannot take decision. That is for
Yeah,
sure.
interpretation becomes a bit hard. So that's the reason give equal importance. Let model treats equally. That's it. Okay. Yeah. So this is resting ECG done. Similarly, we'll do it for. You can actually pass multiple columns as well. I'm doing separately. One more is ST slope. Yeah. Just check your data. It's okay. Anyhow, it's creating more columns, but you should be a little cautious when you deploy it. The order and the column names should be taken the same. Okay. But it makes sense instead of going with ordinal because it doesn't follow any order. Yeah. But most often one hot encoding works better, but for decision tree based algorithms and all, you can try with manual encoding as well. Because trees can understand the order, but not these logistic regression, basic algorithms will not understand. Okay, by using one hot encoding, no bias, nothing. It treats everything in a same manner, and it's a safer thing. Done till here, clear. We have to drop any column. Yes, exercise angina has to be dropped because new column has been created. Now let's drop this. Just use data dot drop columns equals comma in place equals true. Okay, drop. This is a data. You can see all categorical and also numeric. Okay, done. We'll do a scaling now. Yeah. So for all the numerical continuous columns, we have to apply the scaling. I'm just going with standard scalar. You can try with min-max as well, your wish. See like how things changes. I'll be applying on all numerical column, these many numerical column, except fasting VS. Fasting VS has a value is like 0, 1. Okay. So for all these columns, first let me call from sklearn dot preprocessing. Let's import standard scalar. And then I'll be calling a standard scalar. And I'll be calling a data. I'll be calling all multiple columns. So for scaling, it's always like two-dimensional array should be passed. So I'm using two brackets. For encoding and all, it can be like in a series format. Okay. You can do it individually or you can do like this, multiple columns together. If you want to do it individually, you can also try one by one column also. So calling all the columns, which is equal to standard scalar dot fit underscore transform, passing all the columns. Okay, done. Send your data. Okay. Almost we have a 20 columns. All clear so far? Any questions? Okay. So the next step is like, do we need to drop any column? No, right? Everything is important. So all columns are important. We're not dropping anything. And also, no need to create a new columns. It's already there. No date columns, nothing like that. And you can also check for multicollinearity. Multicollinearity in the sense like just check like is there any two columns with high correlation. You can actually check for these columns. Okay. Because these are the continuous columns, right? Check only for the continuous columns, correlation. So I'm calling these columns and just dot correlation. And you can plot, you can do one thing actually. You can call df equals and then df dot correlation. For the same, try plotting heat map, SNS dot heat map, just pass df dot correlation. Yeah. Is there any column with very high correlation near to 1? No, right? So correlation among input variables should be very less. That's what we look for. Correlation between input variables should be less. If in case it was high, you have to drop any one column. If correlation between any two column is very high, we have to drop such column. Okay, hope it's clear. So this is all about the pre-processing steps that you have to perform as a part of your classification.
Ma'am, high means above point 0.7, point 0.8, right?
Near to one, yeah, point 0.8, point 0.9, like that. Okay, we'll split our data. X is everything except a hard disk. Y is just an hard disk. I'll just call data of hard disks, and for X, I'll just drop this data dot drop columns equals hard disks. Okay, well done. Splitting X and Y is done. Now you have to split your data for training and the testing. Because we don't use complete data for training, we use just 70 or 80% of data for training and remaining for testing. So from sklearn dot model underscore selection, let's import a trait test plot. It gives a four things: xtrain, xtest, ytrain, ytest equals train test plot. Pass your x, pass your y, and same test size. Will take 20% or you can take 30% as well. And then I'll use random state equals 42 because it should not change every time. Like it should remain constant. The shuffling should remain constant for every run. Okay, done. Done. Okay. So now, how do you say whether data is balanced or not? So balanced data in the sense, if number of observations if number of observations in target column, if number of observations in each category is same, we call it as balanced data. Okay, this concept comes only in a classification. It comes only in a classification. Okay, so in our case, the target column is basically hard disk, right? If the number of observations in each category is same, we call it like a balanced data. Else, it's a imbalanced. Okay. So similarly, imbalanced data in the sense, in target column, if number of observations in each category is different, we'll call it as imbalanced data. Okay. So in our case, we know we have diabetes, high risk of heart attack as well as low risk of heart attack, right? So if both the classes has the same number of observations, then we see it's all balanced. Let's see something like this. If you have same number of observation, let's say 100 observations, 100 observations. Class 0, class 1. We call this as a balanced. Okay. Same way, if observation in one class is like very high, another one is very less. Let's say here you have 1,000 observations, here you have 200 observations. Class 0, class 1. We call it like a imbalanced. Clear? So how do you check whether data is balanced or imbalanced? So we use a count plot. Okay. Use count plot to check whether data is balanced or not. So we'll use PLT dot figure of fixed size equals 5 comma 2, and then we'll use SMS dot count plot data comma x equals. So you have to check it on target column only, especially used for classification. So is it balanced or imbalanced? It's imbalanced, right? We don't have equal number of observations. We have more observations towards high risk, we have less observations related to low risk. Okay, so clearly data is imbalanced. Data is imbalanced. Usually, what happens when data is imbalanced? Simple, okay? Let's say if I spend more time in teaching Python and less time in teaching machine learning, what will happen? You'll become good at Python because I spent a lot of time in explaining that. If I teach machine learning in a less time, obviously you get a limited information related to that. Same happens here. Since the number of observations related to heart attack risk is high, so your model learn more towards the class which has like high number compared to the class which has a low number. Okay, bias will happen here. You know, biased in the sense like if data is more observations related to one class, the model learn more towards that. Okay, so clearly data is imbalanced, which results in biased model in the sense model will be more interested towards the class which has highest observation. So the model learns more about the class which has highest number of observations, which leads to biasness, which leads to bias. Okay, it's learning more about the class which has got the highest number of observations. So which is actually wrong. So everything is going to predict like okay, a high risk of heart attack. So that's the reason we have to balance it. So now the question is like how to balance. We have different techniques for that, okay? So we have oversampling, we have undersampling, and then we have smooth. These are the three different techniques we have. So now the question is, what happens with oversampling? Or like what is oversampling? Any idea? We call it like majority class and minority class, okay? The category which has got highest observation is majority class. The one which has got a less observation is a minority class. Oversampling in the sense increasing the number of observations in minority class to match with majority class. Minority class in the sense the class with less observations. Majority class in the sense the class with high observations. Okay, so class with low observations and majority class in the sense it's a class with high observations. Okay. Yeah. So what will happen in this case? Increasing the number of observations in a minority class to match with majority class by duplicating observations. So what will happen? What is the limitation with this concept? What is the limitation? Don't you think when it is increasing minority class to match with a majority class, the duplicates will increase? What is the point in including duplicates in our data? Duplicates will increase, which doesn't make sense. Repeating same rows, having repeated rows doesn't make sense. Duplicates will increase, so it's not a good option. So it's not a good option. Okay, so in a oversampling, what happens? Let's say, for example, your majority class has 1000 observations, your minority class has 300 observations. So, what will happen in your oversampling? So, your majority is 1000 now, and your minority is 300. So, almost 700 observations will be increased in order to match it with your minority class. Sorry, in order to match with majority class. This is majority class, and this is minority class. Understood? So what is happening? Unnecessarily, duplicates will increase. Duplicates will increase, which is not a good option. Fails. Okay, it's not a good option. We call that as a oversampling. Hope it's clear what is oversampling. Process of increasing the number of observations in a minority class to match with a majority class by duplicating observations. So limitations, the repeated rows will increase. Not a good option. Okay, next one. Undersampling. What will happen with undersampling? When I say undersampling, it's a process of reducing observations in majority class to match with minority class. So what will happen in this case? What is the limitation of this? What is the limitation of this? We are reducing the number of observations in a majority class to match it with a minority class. So what's happening with this approach? Don't you think it's a loss of information? We are cutting down, so that means we are losing information. So limitation is this concept, it results in loss of information or loss of data. We all know that data is precious. So who likes to lose an information or like who will miss our data, right? So that's the limitation of undersampling. Okay, let's see, for example, you have 1,000 observations, you have 300 observations. When we perform undersampling, so basically what happens? So it will cut down. The majority class will become exactly same as your minority class. Say reduced. Okay, so which results in loss of information or loss of data. Again, dangerous. Even this approach fails. Okay, hope you are getting. Then what is the right option? If oversampling results in increase in duplicates, undersampling is resulting in loss of information, then what is the best option? The best option would be using smooth. Any idea what is smooth? It's
It
a
will reduce
reduce what?
reduce major plan this and increase minor.
Okay, it will increase, but let me tell a definition. Smooth stands for synthetic minority oversampling technique. So basically, what it does, it is used to handle imbalanced data. Okay, so what Smooth will do, instead of duplicating minority sample, Smooth creates synthetic new samples. Okay, so Smooth is used for balancing data. And what this Smooth will do, Smooth is one of the oversampling technique itself. Smooth is oversampling technique. Instead of increasing, I would say instead of duplicating minority records or minority, instead of duplicating minority samples or observations, it creates or synthesize what? It creates a synthetic new samples. So let's say it creates new or it creates synthetic samples. So how it creates? So basically what it will do, it generates new points between existing minority class points. Okay, it generates new points between existing minority class samples. If you have any two observations in between them, it will generate one more. It's not duplicating, rather it's creating a new ones. Understood? Hope it's clear. Let's say, for example, you have two observations, okay? Like A and B, 2 points. So, what Smart will do, it will try to synthesize new observation between them. Like this, the new points will be generated. New points or synthetic. Clear? This is how this motor is going to work. It's applicable only for a classification problem. It doesn't work in our regression. Only in our classification we see this. Understood? Shall I show how to implement? Okay. So it's not available in sklearn. It has a different library. So from IMD learn, any question, Subrat? From
No, no, what is the point of increasing these samples? That too means it will be biased towards that minor this one, right? Then
no, like we are making it equal now. Synthesizing new observations. It's
since
like
target column will be that minor this one only, so what is the difference between this and then duplicating the uh, old data only one? Then?
let's say duplicating old data in the sense exactly repeating same rows.
Yes, but at the end of the day, target column is increasing, right? This 300 we are increasing.
Mm.
So duplicate also will do the same thing.
Understand, like duplicate will repeat the same rows. Smart will create a new observation other than like what has existed.
But the goal of both these is to increase this 300, right?
But the way we are increasing is different, huh? It's like, see, like in order to, let's say you have two different color shirts, green and black. We have 700 green shirts, 300 black shirts. Okay. So here, if you repeat a same black t-shirts, it's a duplicate. Okay. If you create it in a different pattern, that's a smooth. Synthetic, new observations. Not similar, different ones.
Okay, got it.
Getting, let's say, for example, you have a male, BP is 140, cholesterol is 180. So let's say it's 1, heart risk, high risk. So if it's a male, BP is 100, and this is 140, let's say 0. So repeating exactly same, it's a duplicate. This is duplicate, right? Repeating same. What if I create a new observation? Male, instead of 100, let it be 120. Instead of 140, let's say 160. So it's a 0. This is not a duplicate, this is a new observation. Synthetic point created.
I understood this definition, ma'am, but my thought process is saying that means at the end of the day we have to increase the sample size of this B or 300, right?
Not just
So
sample size, the observation should increase.
how observation should increase? The 300 should
Mm.
increase to near to 700, right?
700, yeah.
How it does matter means what is the use of saying that we have to generate new data or duplicate same thing? No? At the end of the day, for machine or for the model, it will be same thing only. No?
No, we are giving equal importance, no? Let's say, for example, I spent 7 hours in teaching you Python. Okay. I spent 3 hours in teaching machine learning. Which one you will understand more?
This I understood, ma'am. Python only.
You'll understand Python. When it
The
comes to
model will be
yeah, when it
Python.
comes mm, when it comes to oversampling, the same topics whatever I taught for 3 hours, I'll be teaching you again for 3 hours. So what
Okay.
will happen? Learning same thing.
Yes.
Same happens with oversampling. Learning same data. What is the point in learning same data? When it comes to a mode, what I'll do, I want to match it now. 3 hours I'm teaching you the first part of ML. Remaining 4 hours to match with the Python hours, I'll teach new topics based on existing, like whatever I have missed. So those things I'll include it, which is different than what I have taught you for 3 hours. That is smooth. Understood?
Yes, got it, ma'am.
So no duplicates, all different observations. At the end of a day, we are trying to provide equal number of observations related to both. Equal number of observation in the sense equal information is given. So your model understands better. Okay. Yeah. So from IMD learn oversampling, let's import a smooth. And now tell me, balancing should be done only on trained data or a test data? I'm calling smooth. If you want, you can give a random state as well. So I'm applying it on a trained data, not for test. Only during training, I have to give a equal importance, not during testing. I have to spend equal amount of time in teaching Python and machine learning. There is no rule that I have to ask equal number of questions in a test, right? I can ask like whatever I want. So balancing should be done only on trained data. Please remember this. Okay. So it gives us two things. I'm calling it like X sampled and Y sampled. So what is equal to? So I'll be calling my smooth dot fit underscore resample. We are resampling. It's not a transform, it's a resample. And you have to pass your X tree and a Y tree. X tree and a Y tree. Okay, done. If you want to see uh, the difference, so from collections you can just import counter. Okay, so I'll show you like how will be the difference. You can just use counter of extreme dot shape. So we are looking for y now. So I'll just call it like y dot shape. Y train dot shape, as well as I'll call counter of y sampled dot shape. Don't need to use a shape, just use y. We're checking for y train. Okay, and this y sampled. See, initially it was like imbalanced when we splitted our data for 80-20 rule. 401 observations related to 1 and 333 observations related to 0. So remaining observations synthetically created and it has become matching 401, 401. So we made it balanced. Okay. This is how the balancing data will be done. That's it. 4 lines of code. And counter is basically used in order to see the count. I mean, like, what is the shape, something like that. No, no, it will be done on our training data, not on testing. Because I said now, equal importance should be given when you train it. During testing, we need not give an equal importance. I said I should give equal importance for teaching Python and machine learning, right? While conducting test or exam, it's my wish. I need not give an equal importance, equal questions for Python or for a machine learning. That's a difference you see here. So all good so far then. We'll do model implementation. Evaluation we'll do it tomorrow. So we'll be finishing logistic. Yeah. So hope this is done. Model building from sklearn dot linear model. Again, though it has a name like a regression, it comes under a linear model only. Import logistic regression. Okay. And then let's initialize the model. I'll just call it like log model. You can call just model as well, your wish. Since I'll be showing different model implementation, so I give the model name as a variable name. And then first step importing, second step initializing, third step you have to train it. So train model, how do you train a model? So what should I use in order to train a model? Dot fit? Okay. What to pass for training? Extrain Y train or X sample Y sample?
Example, example.
Yes,
Yes.
Arya. Good. You have to use a balanced one now, not the old extreme Y train. Okay, be careful. So X sampled and Y sampled. Okay, done. Let's make a predictions. Y pred equals model dot predict. For testing, X test. Yeah, that's it. Model is not defined, so it's a log model. Sorry. Okay, finally, model building is done. We said that it's a linear regression concept, right? It uses a straight line equation. You can actually find your coefficients. It gives you slope for each column, coefficient in the sense of slope. Okay, if you want an intercept, you can call log model dot intercept as well. This is for C intercept in our equation, straight line equation. Okay, Actually, you can also find probabilities as well. Pop up something? No. Understood. Model building is very easy. Only thing is like understanding logic will take a time. Okay. So if you want to see the probabilities it has predicted, you can just use predict probabilities. It is. Yeah. Okay, what's wrong? Yeah. You have to if you want to see the probabilities of your test data, you can see this is how it predicts. Basically it uses a sigmoid function which transforms everything to a range of 0 to 1, right? This is how it works. You can see. This is how it works. Okay. So it is showing the predicted probabilities for each class. So 98% for which class? No hard buses. Zero comes first now. So remaining this 1% is like no heart attack. Oh, sorry, it's in heart attack. It shows like 98% chance of no heart attack, 1% of heart attack. So what will happen? According to criteria set, usually it will be classified like a 0. Again here, zero point 0.5, 0. Here 0.95, high risk of heart attack because 95% chance. Understanding how it works. If you want to compare predictions, let me show you how you can compare your white test and viper just like we did for linear regression. Understanding, no? People who are referring to recording, any questions you people can reach out to me. So this is probabilities for each class. And you know how you get that probabilities for each class using sigmoid. It's using a sigmoid given by sigmoid. That's the role of your sigmoid function. Converts everything to a range of 0 to 1. Okay. So let's create a data frame for Vitest and Viper for comparing. See, this is your actual Vitest, and you also have your Vipred as well. We'll see like how many correct classification and wrong classification. I'll just call comparison equals pd dot data frame. I'll just call actual. Actual is what? Vitest, comma predicted. We'll call it like Vipred. Okay. Well, let me call comparison of data frame F should be capital. Sorry. Comparison spelling wrong. Anyways. Look. So actual is 0, predicted is also 0. If you want to see the probabilities as well, you can also try looking into the probabilities also, like how it's showing the probabilities. Okay. So for including probabilities, I'm just using these two lines of code. Probability of class 0, I'm calling model.predict probability x test, and I'm taking only the first column, and for class 1, I'm taking a second column. Yes. See? Since probability is high for 0, it's being predicted like a 0. Okay. So again, greater than 0.5 predicted like a 0. Here, for class 1, probability is higher, so it's predicted like a 1. Even here, class 1 probability is higher, predicted like a 1. Here, this probability is high, so it's a 0. Comparison table. Got it? So now using this actual and the predicted, we have to evaluate a model using different metrics. So understanding classification metrics is like super important. Many people make a mistakes. So let me take a separate class for that tomorrow and let me explain what is it and also how to implement and also its use cases, when to use what. Okay. So that will be done with a logistic algorithm and then we'll start with KNN, SVM, decision tree, random forest, XGBoost, gradient boosting. Okay. Any questions? Anything not understood? Just ask. Here, simple. Okay, I showed you previously now predicting probabilities for X test. Instead of predicting classes, we are predicting the probabilities. Before classifying into a classes, usually it converts all continuous values to a range of 0 to 1, right? That's what I'm showing. Okay, in that I'm taking a first column. First column is related to class 0. So colon comma 0 in the sense it is taking a first column. Same goes with this. I'm taking second column. Second column is for probability of a class 1. See this. Okay, I'm using the same code. Colon 0 in the sense taking first column. Colon 1 in the sense taking second column. First column is related to 0 class. Second column is related to class 1. 0 is no heart attack. 1 is high risk of heart attack. Got it? Understood? Clear so far? Yes, Subrat.
What does that class means? Just go above a little
Category.
bit.
Which class?
The downside, no. This I'm asking.
See, like we have
One line upside. That
this one.
array I am asking. That array I am asking, ma'am.
This.
This. Yes, ma'am.
I said now, in a logistic regression, first it uses a linear regression concept, which generates a continuous values.
Yes.
And then we apply a sigmoid function, which transforms all continuous values to a range of 0 to 1. Right? That is this.
Yes, ma'am.
Whatever predictions given by your model, it's converting it into a probability. See? First value represents a probability of a class 0. That means we have two values now in a heart disease. Class 0 in the sense like no heart attack.
Okay. Okay. Now I
Okay,
got it.
class 1 in the sense it's a heart attack.
Yes. Now I got it.
So in this case, if you want just class 1 values, use bracket colon comma 0. So what it will do? It gives you first value of an array. Okay, this is class 0 values. Class 0 probable it is. Just for your understanding, I'm showing. No need to show every time. Similarly, for class, there should be 1. Okay. And for your understanding, I showed you actual, predicted, and also probability class. So whatever I explained theoretically, same thing I showed it practically. Clear? Understood? All good? Okay then. That's it for today. Thanks for joining. So practice. By doing, by practicing, you'll get it. So next class I'll show how to evaluate a model. So you're ready with one regression, one classification algorithm. So you can take any different data sets and you can start doing pre-processing. You can implement linear and a logistic. And you can keep those notebooks ready so that you can implement different algorithms as and when I teach different algorithms. Okay. Yeah. So things like scaling and coding and all I'll not be repeating because already you people have understood with two data sets. Next, it's all about understanding different algorithms, how to implement. Because as we go on, like we have hyperparameters and all like learning parameters. You should focus on those things. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Any questions, please reach out to me.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Bye bye. Good night.